You rolling? Give a real like the thing where they be like action.
Look at Baby Shark. What?
Stand in the middle right here, nigga, because I gotta be able to pick you up on this too loud enough.
Was that loud enough?
One more time.
Ready? Okay.
Titties, big ass fucking titties. Treyway. Episode 43.
Is that like 3 titties? You know the fucking vibes.
You know the fucking vibe. Jody Fitz back in the building.
Jody
My brother
Fitz.
JoJo.
Fitz.
We got him back for a full episode this time, man. We had such a great conversation.
That's lit.
For just a quick like that little last ending of the podcast that I have to tell my bro to pull back up.
And here I am.
There we go.
Yeah, Jody Fitz here always support. You know,
My man's
something positive and good. And, you know.
I like the consistent, copious amounts of gang shit that's going on.
Man, let me tell y'all some insight on this man. Stupid. I don't know if people I don't know if he remembers, but I'm gonna give some insight. Me and JoJo played basketball together when we was like, we was kids, man. We was probably like 11, 12, 13, somewhere up in there.
Wow.
We played basketball together. I still got the old photo. I'm gonna find the fucking photo. Yep, Sims Park.
Oh man.
I'm gonna find a photo so I can put it up. Damn, I ain't gonna hold you up. I think me, you, and Keon was on the same team.
Possibly, the whole city. If you a Bellflower kid through and through, you know we have roots outside of the city, but you know about the Sims Park, Bellflower League. You know, Orange
it's a rite of
Crush.
passage.
It's a rite of passage. It's either that or Thompson Park. You know these kids through and through. It's just it's a Bellflower thing. You know, I'm proud of where I'm from and where I come from. You know, you meet good people. You know,
There you
glad
go.
we met, sir.
Exactly,
Glad
me and
we
my
met.
brother, bro. And it's like, for me, my pops worked with somebody who coached in the league, and that's how I ended up from Compton to Bellflower. But it was a good thing because, like, it's funny how God works. Somehow, like, I ended up back in Bellflower for high school because I got kicked out of the city of Compton and Long Beach. I got kicked out of all the proceedings, like all the cities before Long Beach. Niggas is like, I got kicked out. Excuse me, I got kicked out of the cities before. Exactly, right?
I ain't kept that shit up, niggas.
Yeah, it didn't stop for a while.
He'll get a nigga kicked out of city. Yeah.
So I got kicked out of Compton, I got kicked out of Long Beach. I didn't want to go to Paramount, and so I ended up in Bellflower. And so happened that like I ended up back with the homie and Big Bro and a bunch of other people that was solid that I met before. But it was just like, long story short, it's just funny how things come back around. And to see my nigga like come full circle and be everything that he is. I don't know if he wants to like disclose his profession and whatnot.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, since you put him in the spot.
Nah, I mean we'll just say like he doing good. Like to see young black man like to progress with somebody and grow up with him, and then you see like damn, bro turned out good. Like we all turned out good. Like that's a good feeling. Like I tell a lot of my people, like a lot of people who know me, when they be like people from certain areas end up like this, I'm like, not true.
No.
Nah, cause I know a millionaire from Long Beach. I know people who like legitimately like my homeboys who same age as me, my peer group who had fathers and mothers who worked and were upstanding citizens, didn't go to jail, none of that. They ended up turning out to be upstanding citizens, and they are parents now and married with couples. And I think that's a huge stereotype that people miss. Is like our generation are not some wayward group of motherfuckers.
No, not at all, not by a long shot. And just to touch on my situation, my upbringing. I come from a 2-parent household, but to a certain age, me and my brother. I refer to him as my brother, he's my blood cousin. He's a millionaire from Bellflower. Come to think about it.
There you go.
He was raised in Bellflower, not born in Bellflower, but we were raised in this city. Have a lot of pride in this city. He's a millionaire, plays for the Seahawks. Very proud of him. The whole city proud of him.
As you should. Oh yeah, whole city behind.
Season 10 this year, matter of fact. Which is,
first off, in a profession where you get 3 to 4 years, I think is the window. Like that's the average is 3 to 4 years. Bro has not only gone on for a decade, a decade in the league, like a Super Bowl winner.
Shit, actually, like
won a Super Bowl, been to 2 Super Bowls. Like this man is not just some like person who's barely scraping by. Like bro really has got in there and had an opportunity and earned his stripes in the NFL, like the highest level. Like it's 32 teams, 53 men, the best football players in the world. Like the best in the world. Like you can say like. It's very few people that can say I was the best in the world at anything. Like he can literally go, I won a Super Bowl. I was the best of the best.
Exactly.
So that's like a rare thing, and like that comes from like that's a cloth that you're cut from. That's somebody that like that's what you're from. So like that's the upbringing of our peers. Like that's the upbringing of those that are around us.
Exactly.
Like
I couldn't say any better than that. Like, it's very commendable. His rap sheet, speaks volumes, and that's just what it is. You know?
And like people look at that and be like, oh, that's just athletics. But like this man is college educated. For those that don't know, you have to spend at least 3 years in college to be able to go to the NFL. That means you have to qualify as far as grades go for both semesters to be able to play. That man did that for a total of 6 semesters. Like that, at minimum, he did that for 6 semesters. Like Kane stayed 4. He stayed 4 years, right? He stayed 4 years.
Human beings that think that football players don't go to school.
Oh yeah,
I mean, the idea is that you slide through. Like when you're athletic and you're a jock, you slide through the cracks. It's like some tutor that comes and picks up your homework at 6 p.m.
Is it?
Like, you know what I'm saying?
But there's this 82. Does that shit stop? Like,
No. There's tutors for everybody in the world. But they think we have people who come pick up. Like once you go to college, they think like you just play football and somebody comes and like takes care of your work and does your grocery shopping. Like nigga, ain't no DoorDash. We just as broke as the average. We broker than the average college student.
Exactly.
Like we're hungrier.
Exactly.
We're on the road most of the time.
Sometimes I think
like
those are people who, just how people like say that they're like football players or athletic people who shit on like, I don't know, nerdy people. That's like people who I think sometimes, not everybody, but sometimes people who couldn't hack it at sports and have to find a way to like shit on things that they wanted to do. He's not smart. That man's a fucking Scott. Like, I'm pretty sure anybody, like you've heard, like you listen to like Arian Foster. Arian Foster be talking about shit.
Arian Foster interned at NASA. Like, he interned at NASA
and shit. Like Arian Foster's somebody who
like he's damn near nuclear
like
scientist.
A whole scholar, like a real intellectual. Was a full NFL.
Not even that. What's God? It's one of the Roll brothers. Rolle. Samari Rolle's younger brother. He only played. He said I only played football to be able to pay my way through medical school and not have any debt. Like that man literally said I went to the NFL.
Who's the dude from the Seahawks?
Oh, Myron Rolle. That's the
Speaking of the Seahawks, old boy,
Richard Sherman.
Yeah,
Sherman. Like, come on, man.
Stanford out of Compton, people. There's a huge misconception, and I feel like you have to have some smarts. You have to, to make it to that level.
Also, not even,
I know how many brothers that had the talent but just couldn't make it to that level. They didn't meet the standard. There is a standard.
Not even just make it to that level. Like to play football at the professional level, it's not even just like, oh hey, you're really athletic. Like the whole shit in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Learning styles.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like it's not like Peyton Manning is a smart motherfucker. To read a defense is not an easy job.
Week to week, you have to learn the psychology behind how somebody's going to attack you. You have to learn the psychology of what, like, somebody's trying to get into your mind, learn your tendencies, learn your thought patterns, learn how you like to go through your progressions. And then at the same time, you have to learn what you're planning to do to defend that. And you have to learn what they're going to do against you. And then on top of that, learn what they're going to do to defend. And then at the same time, still maintain the team camaraderie. That is so many levels to that shit. Like the psychology of talking to a motherfucker who might be half off his rocker and convincing that nigga that like to save your life basically and not let a motherfucker who's 300 pounds and runs a 4.40 rip your goddamn head off.
No, what you said is mad powerful because like the book I'm reading now is like I want to say it's The Power of Habit, and in the book they talk about like Tony Dungy and like his approach to coaching, and it's mad. It's like it's some of the most like intellectual shit. Like it seems simple when they talk about it, but it's the form of like changing habits. To change the habits of an entire roster of grown-ass men, the intellectual shit to break down film, to break down how they've been working, where they fucked up, because you can't say anybody who plays professional football doesn't know how to play, like they're not talented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a whole psychology of to make this great thing better than this great thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, anybody who says that is just uneducated.
And sometimes that shit is really like, let me convince this person who's not as great as this person that they are better, just so we can get through this week. Like the idea that these men who have to deal with things within the workplace, hostile workplace, where basically you have to go throw your body at another human being at full speed, maintain your health throughout that, learn the system, make sure you don't piss off the coach as you go through your own shit and deal through everything you have to do off the field, being away from your wife and your family for how many ever weeks a year. Even when it's not season, you probably at training camp and away from them, and you probably got to go do something you're obligated to do. Like it's a whole thing. Like the idea that that athletes just have this like run of the mill time.
I can say of the 10 years that I've been, me and my brother like are our best friends.
What I've done, yeah.
It's I'm that right hand man and vice versa. And throughout these years, knowing my brother and how he tends to learn, it was very detrimental that he had to learn I guess you would say the academics or the didactic portion of being an athlete at this level. It's no longer just your talents taking you to the next step. It's you actually understanding what's going on. It's like you talking about.
90% mental,
It's
10%
very
physical.
exactly. It's very the perplexities of trying to find an audible or learning a playbook in a drop of a dime and attending meetings and critiquing. It's truly a job. And for the first, I tell you this, for the first, I want to say 6 years of his career, he would call me, we would talk, and we are all three hardworking men. We have careers and jobs, and when you say to us, we with the work, we understand that. When you look at somebody that we look at as on this level, your work is
you're idle.
You're an idol. When you go in front of thousands of fans and make millions of dollars, when he would call me like, "Hey, bro, I just got out of work," I'm like, "Man, get out of here with that shit. Fuck out of here with that shit. You playing football for a living." But it took me a long time to realize, no, it is football, but it's a job. It is work. It's more than work. It's more pressure, And I had to come to that realization over the years to respect what he's saying. To this day, I can call this man on his phone and he would tell you this is work. And he used to have so much, back and forth about that. But I respect it these days because I understand what's put into it to get the outcome of it.
I mean, I think sometimes we fail to realize like the business aspect of things, like, and that's not just in like this, like just to kind of segue into other things. Like it's just like the business aspect of everything. And I guess that's always the thing that black people always be like, oh, when you going to buy this shirt from this person, when you going to do this from this person, you pay full price. But when you come to me, you do this. Like some aspects of business, like, yeah, cousin, I love you. Best friend, I love you. Homeboy, I love you. But like, yo, I still have to pay for like my materials. I still have to do my things. And that's one thing with like KT, like as much as KT is willing to offer and do, I still try to make sure like, nah, bro, like what's the price? Like I understand you trying to be like, yo, what's the homie price? But like, yo, what's the price? Because I understand that like when you go to your supplier and when you gotta buy your stuff, it's not just like, yo, oh, KT, you bought this many shirts, so I'm gonna give you this. No, it's this. It's not like you still have a job, like point blank period. Like it's still a business. It's still things. And like I hate to use KT as an example. You probably might get mad or something.
KT ain't mad publicity.
Yeah, but
promotion is always good in there.
So that's my shit, bro. Is that like sometimes that's something that people fail to realize. It's like that business aspect, and it's not nothing personal to you. It's just that like as much as I love you, like everything in the middle don't change because of my love for you. And that's I don't know. That's a concept that it took me a long time to grasp.
I can definitely agree with you.
And I think sometimes we look at people who have an enjoyable life or have an enjoyable profession or have an enjoyable aspect of something. It's kind of like, oh, you have freedom, you have this, you have that. No, I don't,
man,
motherfucker.
I can touch on this subject right
No, I don't. Like,
oh
no. For those, like, for whom much is given, much is expected.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I have quote unquote freedom, but at the same time, like, it's a lot of responsibility that comes with it.
I can touch on this subject. We started this conversation, and it's sort of a rant. Embarking on what Jody fits, and me being exactly a show. So what do I do? I do work for the city of Compton. I am a fireman. I am a paramedic. I do hold the license of being a paramedic. Practice paramedicine. I am a fireman, and this is my career. It's not a job. It's not a 9 to 5. It's genuinely my career. I will be doing this until 25 years. Been on the job 5 years now. Been in the field for 10 years now. So when people who are in my field, if you have any knowledge,
this nigga went to like as a ranger and shit. Like this nigga would play high school football on Friday night, Saturday morning. He was up to go run 10 miles and 15 miles.
Run, it was always my backup plan. And just like anything else, anything I put my mind to, I just hit it full force. And I happen to be one of those lucky few to get hired very young. It's a very competitive field to get into. But to touch on what you said, people not having a great perspective about what you do and just see it as like an easy thing, or like I said with my brother's situation, it's not work. I have to really sit down and like, this man goes to meetings at 5 o'clock in the morning, and gets critiqued and has to run drills and tests and all of this stuff. The same thing with me. People who are trying to get in my career think that I sit around all day and just shoot the shit at the boys club. No, like I'm at work doing cleanup and training and running calls, getting my shit pushed in, for 48 hours at a time, not seeing my family. Like, it's a lot that goes into it,
Yeah.
And any other profession that you can, that people just don't have a real insight on what you actually do at work, So I can definitely, relate to what you're saying.
Without a doubt, people see me at Subway and they be like, "Oh, he's just making sandwiches." I'm like, first off, nigga, I got 2 janitors and 8 sandwich artists under me. I gotta do scheduling. It's a lot. I don't want to talk about it right now. Like
Niggas making. Niggas not making sandwiches.
Did you ever had somebody put the motherfucking ranch on top of the mustard, nigga? Now we got really fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
nigga, short you some cheese. He be going
Yeah,
on his
yeah,
head.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. After y'all complain about that, we gotta throw the sandwich away. It's a lot.
Ask for jalapenos and you put on fucking, pepperoncinis. Like you done fucked the whole sandwich up. You think you just pick those off?
Exactly.
The flavors in it.
Flavors in it.
The juice is already in the meat.
It's on the lettuce. It's on the lettuce. You can't. It's on the lettuce. It's in the bread, man. You can't do that.
Jared told bro to stop by and he didn't.
Hey man, Jared from Subway went to jail for child molestation?
I heard and I noticed.
Yo, son fucks kids, bro. That's wild.
That's not a good look for Subway.
Hey, you know what they finna do to Jared's now?
That's what I was just about to segue into. Ain't that an ill ass segue?
No, yeah, they got.
Alright, so Alabama, the same state that just passed, that was one of the first ones to pass the abortion law in recent times. Alabama is trying to, in my opinion, save face. I'm gonna leave this open to y'all opinions. Clearly, TJ has expressed how he feels about this already. I feel like Alabama trying to save face because what they have enacted is basically a castration, a chemical. Alabama passed this bill that will require chemical castration for certain child molesters. Anybody who molests a child under 13 who will be released early has the option. If you're up for early release after a child molestation case in a child that's under 13 in the state of Alabama, you will have the option to either be chemically castrated to be released early or to serve out your sentence. In some cases, you will just be, even if you serve out your full sentence, you will get the chemical castration at your release. It doesn't require the removing of any body parts. Essentially what it is I guess like a shot that would
reduce libido.
It reduces libido, testosterone.
You ain't gonna have the urge to want to fuck with little kids.
You never had the urge to fuck with nobody. Like,
so brash about the situation.
No. It basically reduces the shit in men that get your dick hard. Like, you're not gonna have no testosterone, so you basically gonna not have you. Essentially, it's cutting off your source of what makes you a man. Like, for those that don't know, like, testosterone is what women who are, people who are, what's the word I'm looking for?
I associate
trans, just going through the trans process. Goddamn, I could not think of the word to be politically correct. But like, women take testosterone, men would take estrogen to transition, to go through their transition. There you go. Excuse me. Goddamn, I wanted to be so PC about that. But that's what you would take. Essentially, this chemical castration would cut that off for the man. So if in the event you were trying to get an erection, it would be damn hard. Essentially, you'll have ED. You'll have erectile dysfunction. And I'm sure in that situation, no doctor would be willing to prescribe you anything for that. But I feel like this is the same thing.
Just completely dead your shit.
Because I think it would be inhumane, and I think you would be risking death if you tried to physically remove the organ.
I mean, like, no.
And I think it would block other things.
Yeah, just being like, shut that shit all the way to fuck. I mean, they child molestation. I'm not really like.
No, but that's chemical castration. Chemical castration is essentially like.
Oh yeah, they just did your shit, right?
Yeah, I just give you erectile. It's manual erectile dysfunction. Like, we manually don't let your dick get hard.
Do you agree with this?
Yeah, you should be happy they're not chopping this shit off. Like, fuck you. Like,
but the niggas, I don't know how many hundreds of years back that we've been, I guess, going through this. They didn't have.
You fucking 13-year-old, you need to have your shit taken. Period.
I agree.
Like, it's no gray area for me on that one. Like, nah.
Yeah, bro.
And to me, 13, that's too low. Like, I think you shouldn't accept, like, even if, like, age and, like, you should know, even if, like, she built like Bernice Burgos. If you talk to that bitch, you know she's 16.
So it's 13 is the aggressor, or 13 is the person they're fucking with?
No, 13 is the person they're fucking with.
Oh yeah, fucking go away.
Yeah, that's why I say I think 13 is too young. Like, I think you should bump that up to, like, 18 or whatever the legal age is in that state.
Yeah,
I know we talked about that before, but how do y'all feel about that? Like, when you go to other states, and this has happened to me. Like, I've lived in other states, and I've had friends who dated people who were under the 18-year-old threshold for California, but in that state they were legal. So I lived in Louisiana. The legal age there is like 16, I believe.
Sure.
But I'm from California, which exactly. But are you saying that?
Yeah,
are you saying that because you're raised in one? It's only 8 states in America
like, I find that shit
that are 18 and up. You understand that, right? You know that, right? It's only 18 states. It's 8 states. Excuse me, 8 states in America that require 18 and up for it to be a legal adult. Everything else is at least 15 or 16 and up from there. So we are one of the few states that have that mental restriction of like 18. Some people are just like, our restriction is 16. When you look at a case like R. Kelly, that's one of the big things in Chicago. Was like he was moving around to California or moving to states that had the 18 and up law with people who were 17 or in that gray area, but they resided in Chicago, Illinois, or the state of Illinois where 16 and up is the law. So I think that's a gray area that. How do you feel about that? Like, how do you like? It's just for you. You like California made this rule because basically you're just being.
All right. So my take on it is this. Maybe I'm biased.
Understandably so.
You are a product of your environment, you know, and past practice. And here, it's never been cool to do that. Even if you go back to high school, would you be caught dead? We went to a high school where there was middle school joined into it, conjunction. It was terrible. I know it's terrible to think about, but you couldn't see. I would be damned if my best friend or any of my boys wouldn't go hang out with a little seventh grader. And it's just that practice or that ideology.
Self-policing.
In high school,
you're gonna be held accountable by your boys,
and that's self-policing right there.
Exactly. High school used to be weird. Like if you were like a senior fucking with a freshman, you was a weirdo.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing that people fail to realize. It's like, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Let me just segue real quick. I hate when anybody, I don't give a fuck who it is. I'm not just saying anybody. The idea that men don't self-police. Like the idea of this locker room thing that's just like men are just like, did you fuck her? You fucked her, huh? Did you wear like, no, we don't discuss that shit because it's a self-policing in men that may not be like a morality code, but it's kind of like you a lame ass nigga, bro, that have to speak on that or that have to do that. Like that shit lame, you don't get no points for that. So like men self-police, we may not do it in a morality way all the time and being like, oh no, because this and respect, and sometimes it's just like, bro, you lame for that shit because you don't need to talk about that. And after you go through the if you go through the layers and peel it back, of course it's gonna end up at like respecting women, but like you gotta peel back probably about 3 or 4 layers. Niggas gonna be like, bro, you lame for like talking about what you do with your dig. I didn't nut because you fucked her. So like the idea of self-policing not existing between men is something that's not real. I'm sorry. Please continue. Self-policing. Accountability.
There you have it. But back to what I was saying, I just feel like how I grew up, back to the question, how I feel about it, my take on it, is I grew up feeling like that was never okay. I mean, hey, you know what, don't get me wrong, she might be a year younger than you and that might be cool, but for somebody, y'all within the same realm.
We're talking about like 12th, 11th grade.
Exactly, my fiance is a year younger than me, and that's totally okay, but sitting there to go 4 grades back, and we just talking high school now, you're a man now, you a man now, and we talking about, now you're a man, you separate yourself from, I'm paying bills and have a career and
you can still drink before she get out of high school. If you're 4 years older than Shorty, she's still 17 when you're 21. She's still planning for prom and you at the bar.
Now, let me. I always have to self-reflect and look on the other side. That's just how I was raised. Mm-hmm. Say you was a man to do that fat, nerdy, and you just could not.
I'm not right.
Get a girl. Hey. I feel
you want me to tell you why, JoJo? Because let me tell you what you just said.
I'm just trying to.
That's predatory, bro. That's predator way. You cannot hold your own.
Yeah, that's you
in something. So you gotta prey on somebody that's weaker.
Yeah, you're
that's bully.
You preying on somebody.
Like, that's a bully. That's a sexual bully.
Yeah, that's a
sexual bully. That's what niggas feel real. That's like basically saying you gonna fight niggas that can't fight because you don't really feel like you can fight.
Yeah, because you know these niggas gonna beat you up.
I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just putting it out there that you know what, maybe there's a reason why. I'm not saying it's okay.
No. I'm not saying you are. I'm just giving my opinion on it. Yeah, I feel what you're saying.
I'm really big on putting myself on
scenarios.
Exactly, in the other person's spot. Because that's just how I was raised. And I feel like, maybe you were that person that just couldn't, get with any girls in your grade. I'm not saying you jumped down from 30 years old to 16-year-old, but, if you was a 20-year-old and you found a girl that was 18 years old, hey, maybe that worked for you.
To me, even 20 and 18 is not a stretch. To me, that's still like...
That's like 25 to 18.
25 to 18 is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, see, my thing is, that's not even like you being like if you're a loser, I don't know, fucking loser quotation, because it's whatever, but like, you wait till you bloom or whatever, because at some point you hit whatever your personal stride is. If you're, especially nowadays, like if you're a geek, if you're a fucking whatever, like there's a lane for you to like,
right.
Have your
other geeks, there's girl geeks that's in your
body.
Like,
exactly, like if you have a commonality, if you have a common bond and it's a genuine like, yo, I just stumbled across this person who so happened to be 18 and they are like they fuck with all my like we just so happen to mesh, that's one thing. But if you outside the high school
like if
in your new whip and shit, like you outside the high school in your Charger, like
That's dope. You ain't never get no stripes for that.
Nah. I graduated 2012. Do what's the name still work here? If you gotta ask, do anybody that you do?
It's nasty as fuck.
If you gotta ask anybody, do somebody still work at your old high school? Then you've been gone too long. That's just it.
You want to go to McDonald's?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're dropping down, lowering your standards to try to, like you said, be a predator. Of course, that's not it.
Yeah,
There's always two
to
sides
me-
of the story, and I get what you're saying. That
To me, it's 20-year-old chicks, just like he said, it's 20-year-old chicks who just, or whatever age you are, it's that same chick. That's exactly what you are for a guy.
Yeah.
More times than not, yeah, like it's the same woman, like out there. She like Fortnite and ain't really dating nobody.
Yeah, see, that's one thing. Like at some point,
shop
it's
at
like,
Old Navy.
I understand that there are at every age or something. There's somebody who's mature for their age, but on the whole, it's weird to me because I know good and fucking well. If I ran across like a 17, 18-year-old, beyond the whole grossness of it physically, what the fuck do I like? What do we talk about? What do I?
Don't get me like you got to be a special breed. Like it's very rare, and I don't
like
not
you're
hold
going
on
for the immature because
Stop.
they know nothing. Like,
And also, it goes back to sometimes I think we have to look at the person as well. Like, I understand the point you were trying to make is like, I'm talking to JoJo. Like, with JoJo's like the I guess you were
giving
trying
the benefit of doubt, maybe, or just giving a little insight on the opposite side.
I guess you would say maturity levels. With that example that you were giving, though, like how you were like that perspective, I think it's like I guess maturity levels or like even commonalities in that. Like maturity levels still a commonality. I don't give a fuck. Like where you are as far as like how mature you are, that's still a fucking commonality. Like I don't give a fuck what somebody say. Old women that still like to go to the club more times than not end up being cougars because the club is filled with niggas who are of a certain age. Like more times than not. You might get a couple of like grandpas in that bitch, but like the things that come with like the maturation process affect environment, it affects a lot of shit. So I don't know. I think that's where we at, and I think sometimes you do meet a motherfucker who's young and that's just way beyond their years. Like their education level has exceeded what some people may have gotten by the time they're 40 and shit. You can meet somebody that's 25 that's like, yo, they've got a degree in all this and all this, been educated in this, had this many experiences in life, and you can genuinely be like, damn, I don't have as much as what you have. Like with all the years that I have, the experiences that you've packed into the amount of years that you've experienced still allows me to be able to learn something from you or relate to you or have a commonality to you. I think that does fucking happen. Like, don't get me wrong. But again, if you just out here seeking out, like if you got a history of like
exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, if you got a history of just like
for the vast majority of what we're talking about is predatory.
We all know what we're talking about. So that that's why I said we know what we're talking about. That's why I'm saying like let's just throw out the few exclusions that there are. This is only a couple.
So it's known.
It's a few rare situations
We're gonna
where
excuse those and throw those to the side and understand this shit is weird.
it's one or two. That's why I say it's enough exclusions that we can name them real quick so them shits don't live up in the air. Throw out the few times that you can do this shit, and then now we can. The rest of you motherfuckers who's literally like I seen an interview where my nigga and it's hurt my heart because I fucked with him. Gunplay talked about how it's a culture in Miami. Like after you go pull up at the high school and go snatch you up a youngin like at a certain age, and that shit is just kind of like
like going for it.
So question.
Yeah,
I have a question actually with this age shit.
like even with the even with the pimping shit, like I know. Do y'all know who Sauce Walker is?
Yeah.
The rapper from. I don't know if you know who he is. Like because we live in the South, like but he's a Houston rapper, Sauce Walker, and my man's he got a partner that he rap with named Sosa Man, and Sosa got knocked for pimping, and which they allegedly do, but they're rappers, so whatever they do is in good. It's in acting, like it's not. You can answer that. Answer it. It's yours. I own the podcast. You can do that.
What's the deal? Nah, we doing
on the podcast. Juice.
Hey, bro stuck in Houston. He was stuck in Huntington Beach. He don't want to come out to Bellflower no more.
Hey, but shout out to Coach Marshawn, Elite U. Shout out my boy, man. We doing a podcast right now. Y'all on the FaceTime, man.
We live right now.
Yeah.
And we just going.
We just talking, bro. We just into it. What y'all niggas playing pool and shit? Hey, that's weird. I own that same shirt, Katie. I own that same shirt, my nigga.
I'm not gonna shout out when we got this.
Exactly. It's between me and you. Those who know don't never say, my nigga. Respect to the boy.
You already know.
Juice, what y'all playing? Where y'all at? Y'all at the bar?
Yeah,
Yeah, we playing some pool, man. We playing some pool. Me and the homie KD's and Collins right here, you know me?
Yo.
We chilling, bro. Big vibing.
Oh man, y'all should.
Hey, good looking on the invite. I
Hey,
appreciate
yo,
that.
let y'all do your thing, man. Y'all ain't do y'all done.
Coach Juice, we
Yeah,
gotta
man,
get
what
you
you
on
mean,
here,
man?
man. You be
Y'all
making
go ahead
big
and
moves.
handle
Elite
it,
you,
man.
bro. We gotta.
Man.
When can we get you on here, man?
Hey, babe, I'm lying. You know what it is.
I got you, bro. I'm gonna hit you.
For sure.
Alright.
All right.
Coach Marshawn, that's a good dude right there, man. I love that guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a good cat right there, man. Elite you, y'all go pick y'all up some gear, man. See y'all kids do for the training. He got a camp coming up too. He got a summer camp that he's gonna do for Elite You.
You got any little man that wants to hone in on his skills?
Young ladies that want to play
Yeah,
football
anybody
because
that's
that's
trying to
happening
tap
right
in,
now.
man.
Anybody that's trying to tap in with the training because he does personal training as well. All genders, like tap in. Coach Marshawn, man, he trains NFL players, pro athletes, everything. Like
Exactly.
legit,
And
legit.
you know what? Do yourself a favor if you have a kid that is in some kind of athlete organized, team sport. Make that investment. I know it sounds very bad, but hone in on the skills. If you have an opportunity to someone that can hone in and give him some insight on what he needs to do to elevate his skills or to project him out into this networking where he can get a look. Go and do that as anybody listening. That's something that I would definitely look into.
Yeah, on a broader spectrum, just whatever your child is on a broad spectrum, like whatever your child does, like support it. Like even if you don't completely agree with it, as long as it's not like they're not hurting themselves, they're not hurting anyone, and it's not illegal. Like that's pretty much my rules with shit. Like as you become an adult, it becomes more so if it's not immoral because certain things that's illegal ain't really that fucked up to me.
Well, yeah, like, I know I've had my gripes with like just the health things of football, but I would definitely like. I'm a sports fan. I want my child to be a part of any type
I'm
of
on your
organized
team with that.
organized sport.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we said we'll go with the
Yeah, like football is my first and favorite sport, but I do have like I don't know if I want my kid out there get the CTE at like fucking 7, but I do think I do want my child to be part of some type of organized thing. I think it builds character and all that shit.
That's so arguable because, and I get, the CT, what's going on, but we've been playing this shit for years and them older than me, so the person I am, it taught me so many characteristics and toughness.
And all that stuff.
The first fade I ever caught, no, I shouldn't say that, but the first toughness I can think about was some hitting drills, bro. Every day you gotta get cracking.
You gotta get cracking.
Show me what you got. You gotta line up with
the
hardest hitter of the team, but it's only you gonna win, lose, or draw. You gonna stand up and do that as a man, as a kid.
And I think a lot of people fail to
taught me a
realize
lot.
that's not a hazing process.
No.
Like when you go through football, you gotta do Oklahomas, you gotta go that's not a hazing drill. That is, you need to be hit for the first time. You need to be hit, you need to hit someone. You need to feel contact for the first time. You need your body to be able to feel that joke. You need your mind to get that out. You need to go through that one time real quick. Do it. You're done. You have an identity of what pain is in relation to this sport that you are participating in. I think that is a totally different thing. What the fuck was we talking about before Juice called?
Let's talk about the age thing. Oh yeah, I did have a question for the age thing.
Go ahead.
So
Back to the age shit.
yeah, it'll like segue. Actually, not thinking about it, segues on a lot of shit, but clearly the age for like the sex shit and all that is clearly terrible. And everybody, as a country, is like, that's terrible for you to be talking to somebody. But I just watched, did you watch the When They See Us shit?
I have not.
It's a journey. I'm just
and that is why I have not. I've subconsciously done everything to avoid watching that documentary. I watched Chernobyl's last episode. I watched I binge watched Bad Blood, whole season 2 on Netflix. And now I tried to start When They See Us. I got as far as the part where the lady shows up at the crime scene that night. I probably got 10 minutes into that shit and my stomach turned.
No, when I tell you it's a journey the entire time, it's like I finished watching it yesterday and it took me about 3 days to it's anything on Netflix, you knock that shit out and immediately. It took me 3 days to process. I'm a grown ass man. I made a big stink about Avengers and shit. I haven't had an emotional response to a movie in years. And every phase of this hit me differently. It's not You watch a slave movie, you think to yourself, man, that shit was 100 years ago. I'll beat a motherfucking slave master ass, man. This shit, you watch it, and this shit can happen, and you kind of box in that.
This was the beginning, this was not the beginning of it, but this was it just was it's a continued thing.
Exactly.
It's something that you look at. How about this? This will fuck you up.
I got a whole thing you tell me what fucks you up, because I got what fucks me up consistently.
I feel this one is something that's just gonna really be. To me, it was jolting as fuck. Mm-hmm. Do you understand that in a different era, we actually have to be thankful that the Central Park 5 happened in the time it happened? Because you understand in a different era, that's 5 Emmett Tills.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that from Emmett Till to the Central Park 5, just from that time alone, that's 40 years, man, 30. Emmett Till happened, 1955, 54, something like that. Central Park 5 was 89. Nigga, that's 30 some odd years. Mm-hmm. No change. No systematic, disgusting systematic change. Mm-hmm. Think about that shit.
I did.
Fucking think about that, bro. From before black people had rights up until the point of 1989.
You gotta watch it because
nigga, I was born in 89.
That's what I'm saying. When you
30 years ago.
Yeah, when you watch it and you piece all of it together, this isn't 100 years ago. This is it's kind of in your
nigga,
time.
Emmett Till not even 100 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Ain't that sick?
You watch it and you watch it gets beyond this is systematic shit. You watch Boys, and the whole time you watch it, you start to watch Boys. I don't know how, I can't count how many times you and me in different states have gone to just areas to kick it. It's you literally were just the wrong place, the wrong time, and we're black. And it's and you look at their ages, it's 14, 15, 16, and Corey Wise, who's 16, he spends 13 years in prison. He does not go to juvie. He is a 16-year-old boy in prison with grown-ass, real hard-hitting-ass motherfuckers.
And you in jail for a sexual assault crime, which we all know makes you a target.
They tap into that. They tap into just how he's treated the worst way. Prison is not any type of game. He's treated the worst way you can be treated. He goes into solitary. You look at how that shit affects.
They went to Rikers. For those that just we're getting a recent. No, I'm just saying we're getting a recent insight for Rikers. Rikers is Khalif Browder.
Yep.
Khalif Browder. that was Rikers. That young man escaped. That man escaped and couldn't get it off of him so much that he had to go to the extremes that he did. God rest his soul. God bless the dead. Jay-Z went and did documentaries. They're shutting that place down. Understand what that will do to children that are going there for sexual assault crimes, which literally put the hugest target on your back.
That's the part where
your safest option is to be put in a room that is built to make you go crazy.
That happened. That's part of his story. The
not just his, so many. That's a part of that story. You get framed for a crime that puts you in a position that doesn't allow you to even be in the little bit of civilization that you have in the environment that you are now committed to for the rest of your life, or majority of the majority of your future.
Yeah, that's the part where I was where I'm getting to. When you watch it, you watch how it affects their families. You watch how it affects them. They leave and they still are subjected to it outside of prison. The community fucks with them. It's just you watch this shit and it's, I don't know. It's just it's a it's weird. You have everybody. We have I'm you black, I'm black, but I got cousins. I have people young men who are just out wilding in the street being young, and I think back to myself how naive and just how wilding I was at 16, thinking that the world was just, oh yeah man, I'm 16, I'm finna football practice. You nigga, I'm killing. I remember I told the story here one time this is how much I think the world is my oyster. I went to I maxed out something shit crazy for me. I went and told my grandfather. He told me some wild ass country story about I used to pull tractors. Completely shattered my shit. But that's how small my views of the world think. This is how. And you send somebody like that, and I guess that's what fucked me up. Is the whole time you watch the movie, you can't help but never have I really watched a movie that you can't help but put yourself in the movie. It's not. I don't know. It's just. It's not. It's crazy to not a funny experience. It will drive you there. So it's crazy to see people go, how people I guess divvy up age. When I know Dave Chappelle said that joke how old is 15 or 16 really?
Yeah.
Because you look at we said all this crazy shit. It's in the same. And you talk to any white person, anybody who might quote unquote be racist, they'll say, "Yeah, you're right. 16 is trash," and will turn around and call the Central Park 5 terrorist motherfuckers, and they got what they deserve. They're 14,
Exactly.
15. So I don't know. It's just I don't even know where that question is headed, except to go like this weird way people can like cut shit off in their brain about any topic or subject, and these motherfuckers are still wrong, and people still were like, well, they might have been. Those were boys, and you sent them out and ruined their lives. They didn't go to high school. Like everything we take for granted, they missed out on.
They missed out on. Yeah, can never get it back. You know.
That shit was wild. Anybody who saw that shit, God bless you, 'cause that shit had me fucked up.
I mean, I think that's a part of it. Like when you black and you 15, like it's a crime. Like if you white and you go to Stanford and you're 19, like you just being a boy. Like boys will be boys. If you white and you're 19, you go to Stanford and she's passed out. But like you just in a public park in New York City,
Actual
13 and you black, it's a crime.
rapists are boys will be boys. These niggas, there's no evidence. Like
fuck that. Like
nothing.
Like literal judges will tell. It's a case where I can't remember what state the judge literally told the motherfucker like, I don't want to ruin your life, so I'm not gonna send you to jail.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I've been having like these really like hard thoughts. Like I talk to like close friends and motherfuckers I fuck with. Like it's weird when people like how I look at like if you have white people have issues with us and we have issues with white people. Like it's hard to look at them do shit like that and you go, I'm not mad at y'all, nigga. Like, I'm scared and that's evil. That's not like, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's how he grew up. That's his...
No, like, I have to live in the defense mode because of your tendencies. I don't hate you. I have to live in defense mode because of what you don't know that you do.
I don't even understand how
you don't even realize what you do.
Evil shit to me, like,
and
spiritual.
I have to live in defense mode of that shit. Like, I have to constantly live on fucking edge because of some shit you don't even know that you fucking do. That you won't acknowledge that you do, that you don't understand how it affects something. You essentially like have to learn how to exist in a world of authoritative sociopaths.
I just thought about like how old we are, like when it happened. Almost 30 years, or actually 30 years later, the only gripe is, shit, man, they finna come at this bitch on Twitter. You wrote books. You lived 30 years of life post this event. And that's just like, and now people they're coming at her like,
it's even more fucked up. Like, I'm gonna put it for you in a simpler form, like, cause I like to break things down to its simplest fucking form. Only thing you're doing is being held morally accountable. You're not going to jail. You're not doing it. You're being held morally accountable for taking years in the most minimal way. You are held to the most minimal moral accountability levels for taking literal life from people.
All you really, the only thing you really got to suffer through is I have to cut off my fucking social media.
No, not even that. I might lose a couple of positions, but like I still have a nice little nest egg over here that I've formed. I still lived a pretty cushy life for 30 years. I got to rent wealth and fame for 30 years off the back of these young black men. I feel like it should be some shit like, yo, all the money that all of your books made that mention any reference to this case has to go back to them.
No, I think
essentially in a form it's reparations. Yeah,
I think just personally, like just off of this outrage culture, people can just say shit and it fucks with you. I think if you lie on somebody, especially when it ruins their life. Corey Wise did 13 years. You should get 13 years. You should have to do.
Can I tell you the truth, bro? Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why that don't mean nothing?
I mean, it doesn't. He still lost 13 years.
Not even that. Can I tell you why? Not even to him. Can I tell you why that don't mean nothing to white people?
Why that?
We found out white people don't care about going to jail. I love Martha Stewart. Like,
I mean,
you can
in
go
my mind, you
white people, that is not shame to them. As long as I can go to jail and come out rich, as long as I have money while I'm in jail, as long as I have fucking money. We have learned what is the death penalty to white people, making them poor.
Oh yeah,
white people becoming poor is their death penalty. Not going to jail. White people go to jail, they're like, I'm cool, 13 years, that ain't shit. I'm still a millionaire, I'm gonna kick my feet up for 13 years, I'm gonna come back to millions. That's a fucked up reality. In reality, they're gonna be like, I'm gonna pay for protection in this bitch, I'm gonna pay the guards. Like, let's all not act like we don't know how jail works. You send a rich person to jail, they still live they live the easiest jail life that there is. You do not cripple white people. You do not cripple anyone by making them sit still. You cripple them by making them broke.
I think both.
If I can sit still and still make money, nothing happens to me. I don't mind that. If a nigga really go, I'm gonna lock you up today for 13 years, but in that time you still get to make all of the money that you've been making, $1 million a year for 30. I'm gonna gross $13 million while I sit still. You got me fucked up. I got to stop all my bills for 13 years, and I'm still come out with $13 million. You got me fucked up. No, you fuck people up by hitting them in the pocket. That's how you hit people.
I would like both.
That's exactly why niggas back in the day used to be like, I'd rather go to jail for the weekend than pay my ticket. You remember that shit when niggas in LA was like, I'm gonna sit for the weekend. Niggas be like, bro, your ticket $157, but I ain't got shit to do this weekend, bro. I'm gonna just miss a party and go, like, I'm gonna miss the club and just go to jail for the weekend. This shit ain't gonna go on my record. Like, I ain't gonna be able to miss it.
Bro, for the weekend.
For the weekend, nigga go for 20 an hour. They like, yo, free.
He went to go sit for his ticket, bro.
On some real shit, nigga get $1,300 of tickets, run up a bill on the city and be like, I'm gonna go sit and let y'all make y'all money off me being an inmate. That's what the city was. For those that don't know, you know, of course, everybody knows jail is big business. If you go to jail, they get fucking paid for every bed they fill up in jail. So if you didn't pay your tickets, back in the day, they used to offer niggas in LA like, yo, you go to jail for. I don't know, they might still do that shit. I don't get tickets. I'm mature dope now. I just pay my shit. I can't afford to go to jail. It just costs too much now.
Time is worth more than money.
Yeah, exactly. That trade-off. That's interesting. We're gonna segue to that. But yeah, you used to be able to just go to jail for the weekend and shit, but that's because the jails get paid off you being there. So essentially, the money you didn't pay in your ticket, they made off of you by having you in jail for that weekend. But time versus money, interesting concept.
Time versus money.
That's something now that as an adult,
oh man,
I consider more than anything.
Time,
is
right?
the amount of time I'm going to spend worth it, or is the amount of money I'm going to spend? My biggest thing, sometimes I have way more time than I have money.
That's
More time than I have.
In my mind, if you put it that way, you're a rich man.
So for me, sometimes I just stop and go, I don't have to do this in a rush. But like, I'm a person that likes to get things done. But sometimes I realize, like, not like I'm broke or no shit like that. I always hate talking about money, because anytime you talk about money, you sound like you're bragging or you broke. There's no middle ground for being like, I'm just cool. I'm just cool.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, you can't, but that sound like some like humble brag shit. Nigga be like, how much money you got? Like, I'm cool, I can buy what I want. Like, you be like,
It's comfortable.
yeah, I'm comfortable.
That's humble.
It's a humble brag though, like it seems kinda like, oh, really?
Time versus money.
Yeah, time versus money though. But I will fucking like sometimes nigga, I will be in a barbershop, right? I have like 3 niggas ahead of me, and I'll be like, I'll go up to them and I'll be like, yo, I'll pay for all 3 of y'all haircut if y'all let me jump y'all in line. With nowhere to go.
That is
nowhere to go. Nowhere. I just don't want to be in the barber shop.
That's some shit I would do.
I don't want to be committed to sitting here just in case something comes up. Just in case. Just in case shit, I'm spending however. Nigga, do you know how like the idea that you just spent $60 extra to let niggas go in front of you?
Your time is more valuable. And that's in my mind, opinionated. It's justifiable in my mind because I agree with that. Disclaimer: I don't have any hair, so I would never be in a barbershop. I do my own shit. But if it had been a situation,
I gotta be.
I'm not in the barbershop. But that's something I would definitely do. If I were in the DMV. I would pay for everybody's ticket. I'm paying for the ticket, but it was like, hey, look, you can pay $60 to go to the front. I'm going to the front line for the 60,
bro.
straight up. Like,
on some shit, like if it's 3 niggas in front of me, bro, I'm at the DMV and I got like $100 on me, or it's 4 niggas, I was like, yo, bro, I get all y'all $25 on whatever tickets y'all got, or whatever. To swap tickets.
My time is worth.
I just text my barber, so I just show up. But yeah.
Nah, even for that, bro. Like,
Can I get on my soapbox about this time?
Shout out Lil B, man. Lil B, the
best barber in Bellflower.
Best barber in the world. Like the best motherfucking barber in the world. Shout out to him.
Straight up.
But go ahead, get on your soapbox, bro.
My soapbox about this time situation. As I've already discussed, I am a fireman, and people don't know, who may not be familiar with how the schedule of a fireman works. We are away from our families for a number of days, at least. So I do 48 hours at work in living quarters. I don't go home, and I have 4 days off. But a person like me likes money. I'm young, aspirations, and things I get to buy, and I'm at work 5 days in a row. So over time, when I first got this job, everybody would think, oh, he's making good money. I'm young fireman, got 23 years old, making 6 figures, and everything is cool until I get that kid, and my kid, and you value those moments. Those things you cannot get back. You cannot get back, the first words. You cannot get back those first steps, or things that kids do. And when you're at work at this some amount of time, you start to realize, wow, my time is way more valuable than this overtime could ever be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where it really
hits you as, you know, you become a man and you start to realize what's important in life. Time is important. I'd much rather have missed this overtime day trying to get ahead on bills or save for this investment or this house and this wedding and not miss that birthday party, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where I truly realize time is more valuable. I would much rather be there to save those memories than to be at work missing it and hearing about them. So that's just my take on time versus money. You know, money gonna always be there, but your time, you know, once it's gone, you will never get that time back, this 20 minutes back or this hour back, you know?
Well, that's actually a really good point. I don't really have a follow-up. That was just a good ass way to explain
perspective, man.
Yeah. I can fuck with that. I definitely can work with that.
That's a beautiful look, man. I think it's pretty much good right there, man. We like an hour in. I think we can wrap it up right there, gentlemen, if y'all all right with that one.
Yeah, speaking of work, like that'll be a thing I gotta do tomorrow.
Yeah, same here. So we gonna go ahead and wrap it up. My brother Jody Fitz.
I'll giving
My
y'all content
man,
in the
I
middle of the
appreciate
week.
you, bro.
Hey, make sure y'all follow the Instagram, JustADopeAssPodcast, right?
JustADopeAssPodcast.
Yeah, I'm new to this shit.
Don't worry about it, man. We appreciate you pulling up, though, bro, man. Y'all follow up IG,
It's
Snapchat.
got shit coming up too. Like, I'm gonna keep this stuff.
Yeah. We gonna keep shit under wraps until it happens.
My bad. I was flash shit. My bad.
Yeah, but nah, shit coming on the way, man. Y'all be looking out for Jody Fitz. Y'all follow up, bro. We got more shit on the way from him. Just a Dope Ass Podcast. A lot of shit happening, man. Y'all just stay tuned. We gone.
You did.
Bye. Send that nigga some titty pics.
Dope. That shit was an hour?
50
Damn, bro.
So like an hour would fly. Like,
Man, I didn't even feel like that was an hour.
like if you get to fucking just spraying shit, that shit'll fly.